its own unique story. And that's a big part of what makes this game special. What we're trying to recreate is the dynamic from the Star Wars movies. If you remember in the movies, you had Han, Luke, and Leia, and they were adventuring together on the Millennium Falcon, battling the evil Galactic Empire. But they also had their own personal stories. Han Solo had a bounty on his head. Jabba the Hutt wanted him dead. Boba Fett was after him. Luke Skywalker wanted to become a Jedi. He was training with Yoda. And, he also had a pretty evil father who happened to be a Sith Lord. But they also came together and adventured together. And that's the dynamic we want to create in this game, for players to have their own personal stories, but to be able to come together with other players and have stories together. Another big staple of Star Wars is obviously good and evil, dark side, and light side. Players in Star Wars The Old Republic are going to have to choose how their story unfolds. And there's going to be a lot of hard choices to make. Those choices are going to determine whether the player is good, evil, pragmatic, or simply just unpredictable. Another pillar, of course, is companion characters. Greg and Ray already went over that in quite a bit of detail, but we'll also talk about it in the breakout sessions. But I'll just reiterate, the companions are very important to BioWare games, and they're also very important to Star Wars movies. As Greg had said, where is Han without Chewie? R2 is very important to Luke Skywalker. Probably wouldn't have blown up the Death Star without him, or maybe he would have. Anyways, we feel that combining companion characters, player choice, unique class stories, and allowing players to join together in epic stories in the Star Wars universe, that we're going to create an experience like no other, and we're very excited by that. You'll notice there's some concept art on the screen beside me here, and I'm just going to, that leads into the discussion about art. Our art director, Jeff Dobson, I'd like to introduce him. He's going to be talking about the look and feel of the game.
Thank you very much, James. Hi, I'm Jeff Dobson. I'm the art director for Star Wars The Old Republic. I've worked on a lot of MMOs in my time, and without a doubt, the game that we're working on right now is by far the most ambitious project I've ever taken on. Working for a company like BioWare with a Star Wars game, it's made it very easy to attract really great talent, surround myself with a great team of artists. So I have a great support group around me to really, talk about what we want to do in a Star Wars game. When we started this a while back, we sat down and we said, what do we really want to do with both a game for the MMO space as well as a Star Wars game? And the first thing that we kind of laid out was we really wanted something that was unique. We wanted something that was our own. It's a time when next-gen games are coming out and they look great, and I love them all. But once you have realism, it looks real, and that's kind of where the bar is set. So we wanted to have something that was a little bit more our own. We wanted something that was every screenshot from our game. We wanted to be totally recognizable as the art that we were making. Beyond that, then kind of hitting on what Star Wars is. What do the players who come to the Star Wars universe want to experience Star Wars? So we're set in a time where we're 3,000 years before Darth Vader in the Old Republic, and so the galaxy is very much different, but it's also very much the same, because that's what people want to see. That's what people want to be a part of. So on the art team, we spent a lot of time discussing what the look and the feel of the technology of the era should be. What kind of fashions do people wear? What are the Jedi into? What are the Sith into? How civilized is the galaxy? Just what's going on in our world at this time? We concept everything. With being that we want to capture this painted look, everything gets concepted, from grand sweeping locations and magnificent palaces all the way down to every chair, every wall hanging, just even the little things. Everything gets concepted, and we talk a lot about what is its place in the universe at this time. So for us, is really capturing what we wanted to do is really just capturing the quality of the concept art that was up on the screen before. Is if we can make a 3D asset that looks just like the concept art, then that's how we measure our success. And that's what we want to put on the screen, is we want this painted concept art that we all love so much on our art team to come to life in a 3D world. Anytime I have somebody, either I walk by somebody's screen or we're showing people images from our game, and they think it's a piece of concept art, and then they'll see it move, it's the actual game or in gameplay, that's the biggest reward to me as the art director, because that's what we set out to do, was make something that just felt like concept art come to life. We also, it's an MMO, so characters take up a lot of our time as far as what do we really want to do with characters. We want to make sure that everybody who plays the game, you come to play these games to be heroic or to be larger than life. No one wants to be just a guy. There's nothing special about that. So we spend a lot of time really thinking about how the characters are going to look, making sure that they're archetypical, and if you're a strong guy, you have a broad shoulders, square jaw, and we just really want to always play the notes that people want to experience and what their fantasy of existing in the Star Wars universe is. And then beyond that is, once we kind of had what we wanted to do with a look, it's as an art director, I want as many people as possible to experience the art that I put on the screen. For me, it's not good enough to develop something that will run on the top 5% of machines in the world. I want everybody to really be able to experience the art that we put forward. So in choosing the style, we found that really what we wanted to do lent itself very well to run across a broad range of machines. The art is what it is, and it looks like what it's supposed to look like, whether it be on a mid-level machine or a super high-level machine. We want everybody to really see the game as we designed it without having to turn off all sorts of stuff to make the game run well. So, today is we're really excited. It's the day we finally get to show you guys what we've been working on for a while now. It's far from finished, but everything you see in these screenshots and what you're about to see on a video here is actual in-game footage, just running in the engine.
So we've heard a little bit about the game design and art vision from Jeff and James. Of course, we'll get to ask them more questions in the breakout sessions that are going to occur after this. And we're really excited to show you what we've developed so far and be able to give you a taste of what we built. The Old Republic is a great example of emotionally compelling storytelling from a great Austin team. We're continuing a rich heritage at BioWare with the Old Republic. You've heard a lot about the story today. There's tons more to, of course, in the game. There's exploration of amazing worlds in this universe. There's progression, there's combat, there's a deep economy, there's quests, there's PvP and raids. There's tons of things to do. It's like being the actor and the director at the center of an epic Star Wars interactive movie that just never ends. So we're really excited to be able to present this today. And we have a great team working on this, so it's an honor to represent them.
So last final wrap-up. Once again, we know you're going to ask when you can play it, so what's going to tell you? We're just doing the highlights today, the overview. And it really is giving you a taste of what the game is all about. There'll be more later, trust me. In terms of where we're going with this, we really believe this game is going to be something special. It's going to be emotionally engaging. It's going to capture that amazing Star Wars experience, something polished, innovative, something that's going to have a huge impact, we believe, on the industry. So we're really happy all of you joined us today. It's a pretty awesome turnout. We're pumped to, we'll be talking more about it a little bit later. So there we go.
I just want to say thank you to Ray and Greg as well as the rest of the BioWare team. LucasArts is extremely excited about our partnership with BioWare as well as Electronic Arts. We've all been working very hard to deliver a AAA massively multiplayer game, and we can't wait for you guys to get your hands on Star Wars: The Old Republic.